Hello YouTube, trying to make a video I think. I haven't made a video in a while, so I thought I'd make one of my little Toy Story videos today, and I'm going to talk about the time when my mate broke his leg. So let's get on with the story, shall we? So anyway, I come back here one day and after work, and I was just about to chill out and everything else and get my dinner on, and I get a phone call from one of my mates called Mark, and he turns around to me and goes, Troy, is it right if you come down here, please? And I'm like, why? He's like, well, I've sort of broken my leg. And I'm like, all right, well, where are you? He goes, well, I'm on the river, I'm by the river, by where the police station is. I'm like, all right, I'll be down in a minute. So I went down there to see him. I mean, I didn't have my car here or anything, so I just literally jumped on my push bike and went down there because it was just the quickest way I could get down there. Like, and I got down there, and he was with this other bloke who was quite a big, dangerous bloke. He was ex-Marines, one all there. He was swinging on a bottle of vodka, offering me vodka, which I didn't really want because I needed to keep my mind clear and, just make sure my mate's in an ambulance and off to the hospital sort of thing. And anyway, I walk up to the pair of them and I went, "What, boys, all right? Mark, how's your leg doing then?" And I took one look at his leg and I could see his ankle was all twisted up and a bit fucked and swollen looking like. And I'm thinking to myself, oh shit, that ain't good. Like, and he's there going, "Oh, Troy, is it bad?" And I'm like, yes, mate. And he's like, "You won't be walking for a couple of days, mate." I mean, like, that's all I can say, like, you know what I mean? So I'm like, "How'd you do that then?" And he's there going, well, I was play fighting with Caesar, which is the name of the other bloke there, and he sort of fell on me and my leg snapped, and I'm like, alright, whoopsie, like, sort of thing, like. And I said, "Well, has anyone rang an ambulance yet then?" And he goes, "Yeah, that was about 5 hours, no, an hour ago." And I'm like, alright, well, I'll give the ambulance another ring then. So I rang up the ambulance service and I said, "Look, I need an ambulance and all this crap," and they said they'd be there as soon as possible. And I'm like, alright, fair enough. So anyway, I'm then down there, like, and like, trying to keep my cool and everything. And this geezer that he was with, he was massive, absolute massive he was. And he walking around, starting to fret, saying to him, "Oh mate, it just looks dislocated. I can push it back in, like." And I turned around to him and I said, "Mate, you can't just push it back in. It needs to be X-rayed first. If you go pushing that back in, he could lose his leg." With that, he starts going, "Who the fuck does he think he is?" Applying to me and starting to threaten, punch my head in, and this, that, and the other. And my mate, he sat there going, Troy, you can't fight him. You can't win against him. He will literally rip your fucking head off." And I'm like looking at him thinking to myself, mate, I can't like fight against something like that. He's like, I just took one look at him and he was yelling at me and shouting, thinking to myself, that's like a 6 foot tank of a black man, like, he could rip my freaking head off and shove it up my fucking ass, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's no way I could flipping compete against that, like, he was like 19 stone, and, as you can see, I'm just a 6 foot flipping whippet, like, he could flipping steamroll me like a flipping steamroller, like, you know what I mean? Plow me over like a steamroller, like, you know what I mean? Like, no way am I fighting that, right? And so immediately I had to use my brain. I'm like, whoa, calm down, mate, calm down. I don't want to fight you. I don't want to cause you any problems. All I want to do is get Mark to the hospital where he can get his legs sorted out. Can you just like keep you cool and like just make things a bit easier for us? And anyway, he just sat on a rock, and, started to drink his, swigging his vodka and that, like. And I'm there like, like thinking to myself, oh my god, what can I fucking do? Like, so I thought, oh no, I'll ring my mother up. So I rang my mother up and I said, "Mother, like, Mark's broke his leg." And my mother like turns around at me and goes, "Well, that serves him right," and all this flipping bollocks. I'm like, "No, seriously, mother, like, he's in a real bad way. There's like a flipping big bloke down here who isn't mentally flipping insane in the head, like, and this is a bit flipping airy. Can you like bring your van down, or if you don't want to waste your diesel, bring my car down and get him to the hospital sort of thing. My mother refused to do it, and I'm like, she's like, ooh, shouldn't there be an ambulance there sort of thing, right? So with that, I mean, I couldn't get no help there, so I was a bit fucked. So I thought, oh great, I'm gonna have to do this one on my own, like. So yeah, after about an hour of me being down there, this ambulance driver turned up in just an ambulance car, and he comes up to me and goes, "Oh damn, I didn't think he'd be that bad. I thought we could just get him into a car and up into the hospital." And I'm like, "Yeah, he's pretty bad, mate." So he then, you know, gave my mate some air and gas that they give women in labour, and shot him up with some codeine. I forgot the word for a minute, because I always like nicknaming it heroin just to wind paramedics up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was sat there going, "Hey mate, you're now qualified smackhead." Like, just winding him up a little bit, like trying to take his mind off his broken leg sort of thing, like. And yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like, it just is what it is. I said to him, "Why can't I get an ambulance here then?" He turns around at me and goes, "There's only 10 for the whole area, like flipping miles and miles and miles, just 10 ambulances." I'm like, "It'll be funny when you think, mate, but we'd been down here for like 3 hours, and like, well, 2.5 hours by then, I think it was. Like, shouldn't there be an ambulance here by now?" And he's like, "Well, we can't, we just don't have the capacity anymore. Like, we can't get them down here." And like, you know what I mean? I'm like, really? Well, anyway, I mean, we're very quickly, this black bloke, like, I mean, his mate, like, Caesar, I can't keep calling him black bloke because that's just not right, but Caesar, like, he was starting to get a bit funny again because he's not right in the head, and the ambulance bloke turns around at me, Andy was his name, I think, and he said, "Can you keep this bloke, your mate, in control and all this crap?" I turned around to Andy and I said, "Mate, I don't know him," like really timidly, like I'm like, "I don't know him. I've just met him like a couple of hours ago, mate. I really don't know him. Like, we're just gonna have to like work together and like hope it just goes to the best." I said, "I really don't know the bloke. He's just drinking his vodka. It's a bit of a liability." I said, "We're just gonna have to deal with it as it goes." Like, I said, "Sorry, but I really don't know the bloke. I can't compete with that. I can't control him. We're just gonna have to go with it. We just have to be smart about this." I said, that's all I could say about it. Like, I mean, as quietly as I could, so like Caesar didn't hear, like, I didn't want to like start him off again, like. And well, anyway, after about 2 hours, the ambulance turned up and carted my mate off. But the whole time, oh my God, Caesar was just a complete and utter liability, threatening to jump in the river. Just, I mean, he was pissed. There was a one particular time he stood on my mate's broken leg, and oh, he was just a complete and utter liability, absolute headache. Like, oh, it's like, oh fuck, right, could you just go home, like, and just leave us to like get him to the hospital? But I mean, it was what it was. You know what I mean? It was just the most worst situation that you could be in. Like, you know what I mean? You don't, when somebody's that badly injured, you don't need the situation made worse, but it sort of was. But the thing that I find most disgraceful about this story is the fact that it took 5 hours for them to get an ambulance down there. Not being funny or anything, but the amount of taxes that us taxpayers pay towards the flipping government and everything else, surely they could afford to give us a better ambulance service. 5 hours is fucking ridiculous. I can excuse maybe 1 or 2 hours, but within 5 hours it is ridiculous. But when Andy did turn up, he was very professional, very good. Can't fault the man in any way possible. But I remember looking in his car with hardly any foot room and this, that and the other, like, we ain't gonna get him in there without seriously hurting him. So we were a bit screwed in that department. But I mean, we just had to wait out for an ambulance, and oh my God, yeah, he was one of the most terrifying things I ever had to do. No bloke has ever made me feel that terrified since I was a kid. Seriously, no bloke has ever made me that terrified. I've had like idiots with short man syndrome at work threaten to kick my head in and this, that and the other. Usually I can just laugh that off, go, yeah, whatever, mate, and this, that and the other. But coming from a 6 foot, tank of a bloke, like, yeah, I might take a bit of a different opinion to that one, because this is a guy that can rip my head off with fucking shove it up my ass. So anyway, this is all I have to say about this subject, really. Yeah, I do actually think it's appalling that it took the ambulances 5 hours to get down there, and I think it's appalling that they don't have the resources they need to give the public an adequate ambulance service. And I think the ambulance service should be there, because at the end of the day, that's what we pay taxes for. And if we're not getting what we are paying for, where the fuck is our money going to? And this was before the pandemic. So yeah, either way, this is all I really have to say on this subject. I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you very much.